Hey guys, so tonight I want to share with you a little bit about Joseph's story, just a little piece from Joseph's story. So hopefully you guys know the story of Joseph. If you don't, really quick one. Basically, his brothers didn't like him, sold him into slavery. When he was a slave, the Lord was with him and blessed not only Joseph's work, but then consequently those that he worked for. So he was put in charge of Potiphar's house, and Potiphar's wife liked him and basically tried to get him to go to bed with her. He said no, and the whole thing basically blew up when Potiphar's wife then speaks to Potiphar and is like, hey, this is what's happened. And then we pick up from there in Genesis 39 verse 19, which says, Potiphar was furious when he heard his wife's story about how Joseph had treated her. So he took Joseph and threw him into the prison where the king's prisoners were held, and there he remained. But the Lord was with Joseph in the prison and showed him his faithful love. And the Lord made Joseph a favourite with the prison warden. Before long, the warden put Joseph in charge of all the other prisoners and over everything that happened in the prison. The warden had no more worries because Joseph took care of everything. The Lord was with him and caused everything he did to succeed. And what's crazy here is, okay, so Joseph is falsely accused and then thrown in prison. And any one of us in that situation would be like, this is unjust. Like, multiple things can happen here. Either I turn around and I try and fight my way out, if there's a possibility of getting out that way, if I seek a retrial if there's any possibility of that, but in some way try and seek justice for that. And at the very least, a lot of us would be praying to the Lord saying, hey, you need to get me out of this situation. It's wrong and everything else. But Joseph's heart is totally different in that. And while some of us may even blame the Lord for a situation like that, where it's like, look, I was only being obedient to you and look where it got me kind of thing. But Joseph, in being faithful, has continued on in his faithfulness even when it's meant a cost to himself. And you see Joseph is content in the Lord's plan, that he was willing to be obedient in his suffering, not just simply taking it and sulking, but seeking how he can instead glorify the Lord in whatever situation he was put in. And how Joseph took that situation that he was given and he said, all right, well, I'm going to bless them in the prisons then. Just simply taking that situation and just saying, hey, how can I glorify the Lord where I am now? Instead of being, captain of the house. Instead now, I'm in the prison and I've got to glorify the Lord here instead. And it reminds me where, so there was something going on in my life that I was pretty much simply grinning and bearing and just taking it as it was, as simply a part of life. And for years I'd been praying about it, asking the Lord, like, hey, can you deal with this situation? And asking the Lord to sort it out, really, however he willed. But what was interesting was the Lord didn't deal necessarily with the situation, he dealt with me. And years later, until more recently, the Lord has dealt with that situation. And dealing with that situation meant dealing with me first, before he dealt with that situation. And I can see now, being outside of that, seeing what he was doing during that time, seeing how he was refining me, seeing how he was teaching me things that I may not have learned otherwise. And so I'm actually grateful for the Lord's guidance through that time, even though it meant a period of suffering and just different things going on that I didn't like. And through the trials, the Lord's going to refine us, but we need to be willing to stay in the furnace if he needs us to. Sometimes, in order to be made a great piece of creation, we actually need to stay in the furnace a little bit longer for that refining process to happen. And as we're staying in the furnace, it's important that our attitude then is one of joy and gratefulness for what the Lord is doing, what the Lord has done, and what the Lord is going to be doing in our lives and in the lives of others as well. How He's working in us and through us. And so I wanted to encourage you guys with that tonight, that sometimes we're going to be going through situations that we don't like, but sometimes it's needed to refine us when we ask the Lord, hey, I want to be made more like Christ. Sometimes it's going to mean that we've got to go through a trial that we're not going to like. But when we change our attitude and we say, okay, Lord, how can I be a blessing in the situation that I'm in? How can I glorify you through whatever situations that I'm put through? And then I just want to leave you guys with this verse from John 16, verse 33. It says, I've told you all this so that you may have peace in me. Here on earth you will have many trials and sorrows, but take heart, or New King James says, be of good cheer, because I have overcome the world. God bless you guys.